Hello and welcome into the Republic of Football podcast. I'm your host for today, Carter Yates, because our host, Ishmael Johnson, is holding it down in H-Town, so I am the captain now. And with me, as always, everyone's favorite Mal pal, Mallory Hartley.
I can't even turn your mic on without you saying something like that.
Like what? You didn't like that reference?
I am the captain now. I'm turning your mic off.
I'm in the captain's chair now. And to my right is my boss for all 23 hours and 30 minutes of the day, but for the next 30 minutes, he's answering to me. It's our managing editor, Greg Tepper.
That was a bold statement.
It's a great point. He's not wrong. He's not
Wow.
wrong. I do think it's funny that we're rolling out a new noon programming slate. And I'm like, hey guys, like we're gonna give Tepper some time off on at noon every day. Like he's been doing a show every day at noon for 8.5 years. And then day one, y'all are like, hey dude, like, you good?
Yeah, sub him in.
No. Here's what happened. We found out yesterday that Ish was not going to be able to make it today because he's going to still be in Houston. And you jumped right to the bit and you said, "Oh well, if you guys need a host, like I'm so down to be a host. Like I would just absolutely love to make my debut on the Republic of Football."
Can I tell you what happened?
And that's exactly what happened.
So we're spread. I didn't know this was a lying show here on the Republic of Football. What happened was that you guys found out that Ish wasn't going to be there. And then Mallory came up to me and grabbed me by the collar and threw me up against the glass and said,
with one hand,
it said, "You're going to be on the show tomorrow." And then she said like an ethnic slur I've never even heard of, which was so strange.
Not correct.
I was
look at this. He comes on the podcast for the first time.
I'm shutting y'all down because you two are just ganging up on me, and I think y'all can produce this yourself.
Welcome to the Republic of Football, nerds.
Produce that yourself.
All right,
rock and roll.
I got to get this show back on the rails. The first 5 minutes of the crossover episode, That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana, Republic of Football, and TFT is off the rails. So today, I'm going to run down our guide. We're talking about our senior writer, Mike Craven's book, the Dave Campbell's Guide to Texas College Football. And then we are going to discuss and debate the all Texas college teams that debuted on our website on Monday and will be in our magazine this upcoming summer. But first off, we kind of skirted past it. We got a new program scheduling that we're rolling out this summer. Tepper, can you explain that?
Yeah, basically I'm tired of working every day. It's not true. But we we consider noon to be our prime time, right? People come to us and they're like, I want to eat my lunch and also hear about football. And so, but TFT has kind of bogarted the slot for the last 8.5 years. And so what we've done is decided that in the summer we're going to try something different and we want to put different voices in the noon slot every day. And so on Mondays it's going to be TFT like normal, Thursday TFT like normal. But Tuesday, Republic of Football is going to be holding it down. And then Wednesday, I forget the name of the show. What is it? Can you help me out, Mallory?
WFT.
WFT. It's Women Talking Football.
Women Talking Football.
Women Talking Football.
Wait, WFT?
Our highest.
That's one of our bits.
Our highest rated show, Women Talking Football. We're putting in the noon slot on Wednesday. It's sweeps week is what I'm saying. So we're gonna have different voices throughout the course of the summer. Don't worry, we're gonna have you covered noon every day, but we just want to spread the love a little bit here in the summer, and so we're really excited to roll out this new programming and welcome Republic of Football to the noon slot. I mean, welcome to the big show. You know what I mean?
This does feel like prime time.
It's a lot of
right
pressure.
now.
This feels like
this is Sunday night.
This is the 7:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
This is the 7:30.
But you know what they say? Pressure is a privilege.
Pressure is a privilege.
So I'm ready to hold down that Tuesday at noon slot. One of our ROF contributors and the senior writer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Mike Craven, has been working extremely hard over the last year on a coffee table book. It's called Dave Campbell's Guide to Texas College Football, and you can pre-order it right now on our website at texasfootball.com. So he basically went to 13 games last year, all 13 Texas FBS teams, and wrote about the program history, the traditions, the game day atmosphere, the best places to eat, the best players and figures from each school, even the most famous alumni. And really, it's a snapshot in time of what our world looked like before Texas and Oklahoma went to the SEC and realignment kind of ripped apart some of the regionality of our sport. I got a little bit of behind the scenes look in the editing process to read it. It was very good, extremely entertaining, and I think this will be a snapshot that you can have on your coffee table for years to come.
What I love about it is that, because same way, I had not read the whole book. I've been helping with the editing process like you have. What I love about this book is it really does feel like you are on the inside of each of these 13 programs. It does feel like you're transported here and you understand what it's like to go to the Alamo Dome for a UTSA game, or what it's like to go to Rice for a game for the Owls. You get that kind of snapshot and you get that understanding of what it's like. And to me, a lot of what we do here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, yes, it's the X's and O's and it's the coaches and the decision-making processes that go on, but it's also about everything around the game. That there's 60 minutes of a college football game, but we all know that it's a whole day. You know what I mean? Going to a college football game, especially here in Texas, is about an entire experience. And what I think that Mike does a fantastic job of in the Dave Campbell's Guide to College Football, Texas College Football, is to capture the surroundings and to capture what it's like to go to these games, to be in these atmospheres, because it is more than just about whether or not UTSA beats South Florida or whether or not Texas State, wins the Sun Belt. That is important, obviously, and we're going to cover that here at TexasFootball.com and Dave Campbell's Texas Football. But more important to that, and I think what is really fascinating about this book, is that you get that whole atmosphere part of it as well. So that's what I loved about reading these pages and getting to know these programs and Mike Craven's kind of take, going to all 13 of them and being able to kind of line them up. And by the way, spoiler alert, he does rank which are the best game day atmospheres.
Yeah, I really like that part of it too.
I think it's going to get some people talking. I think there may be some debate.
Some arguments there.
Yeah, I think there will be some debates and stuff like that. So I've loved reading, and I can't wait to read the whole thing.
Well, when I first came on at Dave Campbell's, Mike Craven told me that he wanted me to think of this job as Big Texas, Little Football. And I think he does such a great job in talking about the culture of each program and school there. Mallory, did you get a chance to read any of this book? Or you've been too busy?
I haven't. I wasn't able to read any pages. Actually, I did offer to read some pages, but they're just, I guess, just too good for. No, I'm kidding.
She was like,
I pulled my management card on that.
Yeah, you were like, actually, I'm a producer. I'm not a writer.
Totally joking. I have not been able to read it yet. But what I do really enjoy, I'm a big foodie, right?
You are a big foodie.
Both of you are, I would say, big foodies too, right?
Yep.
I've eaten.
I think everybody here at the Dave Campbell staff, it's safe to say that we are, on some level, a foodie.
It's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mallory eats, leaves no crumbs. You know what I mean?
Exactly. She's always got a happy plate at the end.
She does. She does make a happy plate.
Correct. You can't go to a football game on an empty stomach, right?
Correct.
So you always gotta go. So I really like that he also gives options of where to eat when you're in town. He asked. He sent his list of the places in Denton that he added in the book. He sent it to me and Ashley, and he was like, "Hey, are these accurate?" And we were like, "Yes, absolutely accurate. Those are the places that you need to hit while you're in town for a football game." And I think that was a really unique thing to add to the book.
One of the things I appreciate about Craven is that he is a guy who he knows exactly where his ego ends. And here's what I mean by that, is that it would probably, I think that's a perfect example, Mallory, of it would be there are some writers who would say, here are the places to go in Denton before a game, and stuff like that. And instead he was like, here's what I thought. I am now going to go ask an actual expert about that and make sure I get this right. And so that's what I think is fascinating, is that it is, yes, his snapshot, but he's also gone and talked with a lot of people within the program and around the program and say, hey, what are you doing before the game? What are the traditions that you care about? Instead of me parachuting in and trying to figure out what the big things in Houston are, why don't I ask Coug fans and figure out exactly what that is? So I think it's a fascinating look, and I think it's the word I kept coming back to was authentic.
Yes.
It felt very authentic of you're going in here, you're getting an understanding of what these college football atmospheres are like and what it's like to go to a game from the real OG perspective. And I think that's really fabulous.
And I love the introduction of the book. I'm not going to give anything away, but as I was reading it, it really did set in for the first time that this was a season unlike any other, the 2023 season. And it was 13 teams in the FBS, and he had 13 chapters on that book. And now college football as a whole looks completely different than it did in this one season. Only tough part about the book is the first 8 games he went to,
Yeah.
the team he was there for
I was
lost.
about to say that.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
A little
that.
bit of Craven's Trail of Tears.
Boy, man, it really was.
Yeah,
you want to talk about?
we called him the Grim Reaper.
Call him Big Poison
Because,
Mike
yeah,
Craven.
I know.
Walking in and it's just like, hey, sorry, Houston. Sorry, Texas Tech. Like, see ya.
Yeah. You're like,
because he went to. I guess that's
Mike
right.
Craven here. Oh, no!
I guess because that's right. He went to the Tech Oregon game, right?
Right.
Is that right? Which was a great game, by the way, but Tech came out on the wrong side of it. But as far as a great atmosphere, because that was a night game, if I remember correctly. To me, when you go to Lubbock, my whole idea of Lubbock is they are best when they're at night. That is a place that is rowdier at night. I don't think that's necessarily the same at every place, but I think at Tech it definitely is. And so to be there, yeah, they come up on the wrong end of it, but I think that's going to shine through as far as what the atmosphere is like, because you're getting that authentic feel of a night game in Lubbock. So it's fascinating stuff. Did he throw a tortilla? Do we know that?
I don't know if you could reach from the press box with a tortilla.
Not with that attitude.
I have no idea if they give out tortillas to media people.
Got to find out if he's got that dog in him.
Yeah, correct.
At least he did. I read the Texas Tech section. He did not talk about that in the book.
Oh yeah, that might be admitting to a crime. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what the statute of limitations on flour tortilla tossing is.
It's definitely a couple years, and
Yeah.
that was not a couple years.
I got it.
So that is Mike Craven's new book coming out, Dave Campbell's Guide to Texas College Football. You can pre-order right now on our website at texasfootball.com.
Yeah, one more small thing. I posted this on Twitter, but I'll tell you this. If you don't buy Mike Craven's book here, the Dave Campbell's Guide to Texas College Football, we are not friends. Like, lose my number.
Well, I also put this on Twitter too. I said, you're not a real college football fan
No.
if you don't order this.
Real ones will have the book. Like, this is a real
Absolutely.
this is a real Texas college football heat check.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's like I'm gonna come in and it's like I'm gonna ask for your papers, and your papers are the Dave Campbell's Guide to Texas College Football.
If I walk into your house and I look at your coffee table and this isn't on your book and you're telling me you're a Texas fan, I know you're a fraud.
Yeah, that's
Basically, what I want.
it's
What we
like,
need to say.
yeah, it's
You're
a
not a true
fraud.
Texan
We're
if you don't know
calling
that.
Matt Stepp. We're calling the fraud god.
The fraud god.
Yeah.
I love that.
Anyway, go buy his book. That's an order.
So go buy that book, texasfootball.com. Coming up next after the break, we will go into the all Texas college team, have a little bit of embrace debate. We're going to get some people talking, to give our takes on Mike Craven's Texas college football team, and that's coming up right after this.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Wing is the largest residential drone delivery provider in the world, delivering to your home in less than 30 minutes. Order using an app just like other popular delivery services, and Wing's automated drone takes care of the rest. It's fast, safe, and sustainable, and it's now delivering to parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. You can learn more at wing.com/TexasFootball. Again, that's wing.com/TexasFootball.
Welcome back into the Republic of Football podcast. Mike Craven dropped the Dave Campbell's Guide to Texas College Football, but he also dropped the All Texas team on Monday on our website. And since Mike Craven's on his honeymoon right now, we're here to debate that All Texas College team, and he's not going to listen to this. We can give our real thoughts and opinions on this team. So
This podcast is going to pop up on his phone. He's going to be like, Tepper, skip. You know, so we can speak freely is what I'm saying.
Him and his new wife are going to be out to dinner, and he's going to see that All Texas College team job. He's like, honey, I got to leave. I'm sorry. I got to go back to the hotel room and give this a listen.
Honey, I'm going to need 42 minutes.
They're
okay?
saying that Josh Kelly should not have been first team wide receiver. I can't sit here and eat these macaroons.
I got to expose these fools. Put the pina colada away. Exactly. Okay, so where do you want to start with the All Texas College team? Because there's a lot to dive into. But it's always, I think it's a tough job for Craven, and I know he takes it into account a lot of different opinions on the Dave Campbell staff. But it's a tough job. I'm interested, where do you want to start with the All Texas College?
So I just want to do a quick observation from everyone around the room. So like when we look at the All Texas College team, we're preparing for this, what was something that stuck out to you?
Yeah, Mallory, you want to go first, or I can?
I mean, I think my opinion of it is we kind of all talked about it too, and you and I especially when I was talking to you about something that I disagreed with on the list, but I think that it's kind of a weaker year for the wide receivers. I don't know what y'all think about that, but I think...
Yeah, so the first team wide receivers are Joey Hobart from Texas State, Josh Kelly from Texas Tech, and then Isaiah Bond from Texas. You can lump in R.J. Maryland from SMU if it was going just pass catchers, right? And then the second team, Savion Williams from TCU, Noah Thomas from A&M, and then Noah Smith from Sam Houston, added Drake Downey from TCU at the tight end spot. I could get on board with that. It feels like a little bit of a thinner year at the receiver spot, fewer known commodities.
I mean, I'll piggyback off that one too, because mine was that it's a weaker year for quarterbacks, but I think a lot of that has to go with they're good players, they're just relatively unproven right now, because a lot of them, the wide receivers at least, are transfers, like Josh Kelly, Isaiah Bond. Texas college football fans aren't as familiar with them. When I look at the quarterbacks in the state, it has the potential to be very good. Like Daquan Finn at Baylor was the MAC MVP, and then Jordan McLeod at Texas State was the Sun Belt Player of the Year. We just don't know them as much. And then Connor Wegman is on the cover of our magazine, and we think he's going to be really good, but he's been hurt all the time. So a lot of it hinges on how those guys perform.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside. You know what I mean? There's a lot of upside there, but as far as known commodities, guys that we know are going to be fantastic, we don't really know. I mean, I'd even add in a guy like Baron Morton at Texas Tech, or some of these other guys who are stepping into key roles. That really, who are the known commodities right now that we know are pretty darn good, right? That we have
in terms of quarterbacks.
Yes, as far as quarterbacks, it's Quinn Ewers, right? Yes. Preston Stone.
I think Connor Wigman's good.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's like we have a small sample size, right? We don't necessarily know exactly what that is. Again, a lot of guys that we have a pretty good feeling about. But as far as on the field, knowing exactly what you're getting, we just don't have a ton of those. So I think your point is well taken. I would go on the defensive side for my take, because my big opinion here is that last year I think was the year of the defensive lineman in Texas college football. You saw the defensive line really dominated, and it was really deep, great position as far as both edge and interior. This year, I think the defensive line is good, but I think what strikes me, this is a spectacular year for linebackers. I think this is the strongest linebacker core in the state of Texas that we've seen in quite some time. You talk about guys like Torian York, Anthony Hill, Ben Roberts, who are all fantastic. And then you go down to the second team, which is Ahmad Walker at SMU, who I think is a super duper star. Matt Jones at Baylor, who if he were on a team that didn't go 3-9, I think people would really be talking about him in bigger fashion. And then Nnamdi Obiezor, I think it is, at TCU. He's been fantastic
one of my
as well.
favorites.
Exactly right. This is a really deep. There are 2 or 3 other really good tight linebackers who were not on this list simply because there's no room for them. I think that the linebacker depth in the state of Texas right now is very strong, which is strange because I think that when you take a look at the way, especially in the recruiting ranks, as far as what Texas high schools put out, we're really good at putting out quarterbacks, really good at putting out wide receivers, really good at putting out offensive linemen. Linebackers is not necessarily something that Texas does super well. Florida puts out a lot of linebackers. California, Ohio put out a lot of linebackers. Pennsylvania, Georgia. Texas it's there, but there's not necessarily all these superstars. And yet you look up and down this list, and you've got not just great linebackers, but a lot of Texas-bred linebackers as well. And so that's what's really exciting to me is I think that when you take a look at the strength of the defensive kind of state of the state, right? I think you take one step back from the defensive line and take a look, stay on that front 7, but I think that the linebackers have really taken charge and become the real stars of the state this year.
So before we dive into our hot takes on the list, how should we be looking at this? And I understand I should probably be asking Craven about this, and he's not here to answer for that right now, but I've asked him a couple times before. I think it's mainly based off returning production rather than projection. And the reason I say that is because last year, Byron Murphy and T. Sweat, the Texas defensive linemen, were not on the list because at that point, they probably hadn't done anything to get on that list. So is that how you think we should be looking at this?
I think it's a little bit of art and a little bit of science, right? In that for these teams, obviously the best predictor of future success is past success. And so you take a look at the quarterback spots. The top 2 quarterbacks that we have in the state are Quinn Ewers and Preston Stone. That's not necessarily surprising. I do think there's a fair argument to be made that they are the 2 most talented quarterbacks in the state, but also they are the proven commodities. They're what we know, right? And there will be some guy on this list or who's not on this list who's going to make us look stupid. That's a guarantee, right? So
100%.
Somebody who comes out of nowhere, like, these guys, maybe some freshman burst onto the scene and has some unbelievable year. Maybe there's, or maybe one of these guys who are on the first team gets hurt and we don't necessarily get to see them kind of flourish in this 2024 season. So for me, when I look at this, I'm saying that you have to base it based on what we've already seen, what we know, and then you can add in a little bit of projection, right? I would not have been mad, for example, if they had put DeQuan Finn at the second team quarterback.
I was going to say that, yeah.
I wouldn't have been mad.
That would have gotten some people talking.
I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
mad because as far as known commodity, we saw him do it in
He
the MAC.
rocked at Toledo.
Yeah, he was fantastic at Toledo. But we haven't seen him at the new team. We don't know what's there. Preston Stone coming back to a high-powered offense where he's already operated in a big way. I think that's the right choice in my opinion, just based on the parameters of the exercise.
With all that in mind, Mallory, let's hear your hot take.
Yeah, just let
I
him
have to
let him
go
have
first?
it.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Set the tone here.
Yeah.
Okay. And it kind of goes off of there being a weaker wide receiver class, I think, on this list. But I've been trying to figure out how to word my hot take because
Okay.
I don't want it to seem like
Fine.
because I could be persuaded either way.
You're in the
in
trust
this.
tree here. It's
I'm
okay.
in
Just
the
let it out.
Well, with everybody else watching, yes.
Well, don't even think
You
about
got
it.
it.
I don't necessarily think that Joey Hobart from Texas State is the best receiver
Okay.
overall.
Wait, what?
Stop that.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we talked about this before. I can see the
Again,
argument here.
I think I could be persuaded either way because he returns with a lot of production, right? He had over 900 yards, 8 touchdowns, I think, on the season last year.
I think he had 800 something.
800 yards? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is, we talked about it. That's good. I think that's really good. He also had help, I think, from Ashton Hawkins, too, who's now at Baylor. But I think if you look down this list, especially at the first team, it's also kind of going back to the quarterback discussion, right? There's a lot of what-ifs, like as Isaiah Bond. He did really, really well at Alabama. He's now at Texas. He definitely deserves to be on this first team. I think he could be better than a Joey Hobart.
Okay.
I also think that the Josh Kelly from Washington State, he had a lot of production at Washington State. What is he going to look like at Texas Tech? I just don't know if Joey Hobart is the best receiver out of all of these guys.
Well-
Again, I could be persuaded either way, but I think I would stick maybe Isaiah Bond or Josh Kelly over.
Okay.
It's difficult, and I don't know if this is what Craven even thought, but it's kind of like, are you going to put a transfer in as the best? Right.
Right.
Out
and
of all
again,
the returners.
I can totally see that, right? But it's playing like a what if game. It's like, I don't know how these guys are going to do. Because if we're just talking sheer production from last year, it's going to be Josh Kelly.
Yeah.
But he was also at Washington State, and now it's like, I don't know. Like,
It seems weird.
that holds.
It seems weird that a second team All Sun Belt player, which good accomplishment, is the best wide receiver in Texas.
right.
What do you think, Greg?
I think that what we're dealing with here is, again, what do you value, right? Where do you put your value? If you're looking as far as upside is concerned, I think Joey Hobart might be the guy. I think that there's a chance that he may end up like, I don't know if he's going to lead the state in receiving, but like he's going to be up there. I think he has that opportunity. But as far as like if you value like more known commodities or you value like projection picks and stuff like that, you may look at different guys and say that's who you want at the top. For example, like there are a variety of, I think, really impact freshmen who could crack this list. And I think when they do a post, I think there will be, here's a hot take, there will be a postseason, in the postseason all Texas College, there will be a freshman on this list, like who's gonna break out, or some newcomer that we're not even thinking of that could be that guy. I think receiver is hard, especially because it did get absolutely wiped. I think Isaiah Bond is probably, if I were to pick one, I might go with Isaiah Bond. I think that and especially because of the style of offense that he's going to be in, he's going to be the true number one in that offense. But I do understand where.
I think Josh Kelly will be too, going off that.
I think so too. I do understand where Craven's coming from as far as those are concerned. And especially, I think another thing that's worth mentioning here is that we talk about Isaiah Bond at Texas, right? Texas A&M's receiver core is basically starting over. You know what I mean? And so there's no real known true commodities there. And so as a result, that kind of muddies the waters as well, because let's be real, there's going to be some guy at A&M who like ends up being a superstar.
And I've got a name for you.
Here comes
off of that.
How about that?
I think Texas A&M wide receiver Jabre Barber should be on here on some capacity. I know he's injured right now, but at Troy, he had the highest PFF grade of any returning wide receiver in Texas. He played in the Sun Belt, I know, but he had 75 receptions, and the next closest guy to him had 43 on his team. Josh Kelly was one of 3 guys with over 60 catches. So, like, I know that Josh Kelly's stats were the same in the Pac-12, but his team also chucked the ball around a lot more. Jabre Barber was the only guy on his team at Texas A&M. And that leads me to second-team wide receiver Savion Williams at TCU. Because this is where we need to have the discussion about production versus projection. Savion Williams had like 575 yards last year, and 164 of them came versus Texas in one game. And I know that was the best team they played, but it wasn't the best secondary they played. I mean, we talk all the time about how Texas' secondary was 113th in the nation in passing defense. So I know Kendall Browse didn't get him the ball as much, and that's going to be more of an emphasis going forward. Savion Williams was a little bit questionable for me.
Okay, I'm on board with that. I think that, again, I think the receivers, because of the lack of known commodities.
There's just so many transfers.
There's so many questions at the receiver position, which is so strange, because go back to last year, and there were a ton of receivers that we were like, that dude's a dude, he's going to be that guy. Like, we knew a lot more. Now, there's just way more questions at the receiver corps. I'm going to stick on offense, if I may transition into my
There we go.
Okay. No qualms with having Taj Brooks as the top running back in the state. No qualms with me. Does anybody want to argue with that? Taj Brooks, top running back in the state?
When Taj Brooks plays North Texas in Game 3 of the year, he's going to have 45 carries.
You're going to build the whole plane out of Taj Brooks.
Yeah.
I would.
My issue is with the second running back on the
Mine too.
Jalen Knighton, who I like, the running back at SMU. He's going to be entering his, I think he's a fifth-year guy there at SMU. Good running back, strong running back. I think that he is not the right pick for the first team.
Who is?
Dean Connors at Rice.
Yes, exactly.
I was going to say Kavorian Barnes.
Okay, because here, I think you got 3 options. I think Craven's got it right as far as the top 4 are concerned. Taj Brooks put him into a category of his own, right? Then you've got 3 more. Kavorian Barnes at UTSA, Dean Connors at Rice, and you've got Jalen Knighton at SMU. Here's why I like Dean Connors. 1, he was better last year. 6.6 yards per carry last year for the Owls, and and I think he's going to be even better this year. That's one thing. The other thing for me is that the style of offense that Rice is going to need to run is going to be very reliant on Dean Connors, and he is going to get, I think, the vast lion's share of the carries. Jalen Knighton, very strong running back, he's going to be splitting carries, I think, 3 ways. Between him, between Kamar Wheaton, and between LJ Johnson. I think they're going to spread the wealth too much for him to get all those, to get the numbies that he's going to want. So for me, I would go with, and then Kavorian Barnes. Kavorian Barnes is interesting because we really don't know what UTSA is going to look like in the post-Frank Wilson era, right? Frank Harris era? Frank Wilson was the coach.
Craven does that too. It's so funny.
If I had a nickel for every time someone did that, I'd have 10 cents, which isn't a lot, but it's weird.
A lot of important Franks in UTSA history. all that's to say, we don't know what their offense is going to look like. It's going to look different, right? New quarterback, it's going to be very different. But for Kavorian Barnes, I think they're going to spread the ball around a little bit more. That's what Jeff Traylor always does. Yeah. And we know they're going to throw the ball a lot more. I think Rice is going to have to run the ball because they don't have an answer at quarterback.
Well, I think they might have an answer in E.J. Warner.
Yeah, we love E.J. Warner.
You walked into a pro E.J. Warner podcast.
Yeah, you
I
did.
know why.
We're big on E.J. Warner. We were big on him at Temple last year, and we saw him at AAC Media Days, and we were like,
yeah,
that's a quarterback.
Okay. I think Dean Connors, if you're asking me who is going to have the, like right now, if you look at those three guys, Barnes, Connors, and Knighton, they had about the same production last year. Now, the rate stats were better for Connors, 6.5 yards a carry versus like 4.6 for Barnes and maybe 5 for Knighton. The rate stats were better, and I also think he's going to see an increase in carries more than the other two will. That's my take. I would go with Dean Connors, but I also know it's hard to put the Rice running back ahead of the SMU running back and ahead of the UTSA running back because, frankly, I think SMU and UTSA are going to be better than Rice in 2024.
Yeah, but here's what you would say to it being harder to put them up there. Dean Connors had 1,100 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns to Knighton's 834 and 8 touchdowns in the same conference.
This is Dean Connors hive, right?
This is a Rice. Pro Rice. Hoot.
We just gassed up a Rice player, and I'm going to gas up another Rice player who actually transferred to Texas Tech, unfortunately, for Rice Owls fans. DeBraylon Carroll, the defensive lineman, I think was a great replacement for Jalen Hutchins and Tony Bradford. Obviously, he can't do it all himself, but that was a great piece for them. I would put him at interior tackle over one of the UTSA guys. We've got 2 UTSA interior tackles. DeBraylon Carroll was the highest graded PFF returning player. As you can notice, I really consulted the PFF charts before I got up here. Brandon Brown was 280th plus. So I think DeBraylon Carroll, I saw him play at the First Responders Bowl, I believe it was, at Texas State versus Rice. He was a monster.
Well, and again, I don't disagree with you. It goes back to the projection thing of like, you're talking about guys who he is, I mean, it wouldn't be fair to say that he's leveling up in competition, right? That's a fair assessment. How well does he level up in that competition? How well does he fit in with their scheme? So I understand where Craven is coming from as far as that's concerned, but I do think that you have a point as far as, you know, the proof is in the pudding, and so far the pudding's tasted pretty darn good.
Yeah, pudding's great.
We love pudding.
Did you have any more hot takes about this list?
No, I think
we covered it all.
We've ripped Craven's stuff apart. Buy his book and buy the magazine, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. But I will say that overall, this is a tough thing to do.
Oh, extremely
It's extremely tough, especially in the era of the transfer portal, where you have an idea on March 1 and then you have to change it all on May 1. I totally get that. There are just some tweaks that I would make, and I think we all agree that we're going to embrace debate here.
Everyone's going to have a different opinion.
Yeah, exactly right.
And guess what? No one's opinion matters more than the man in the arena, and that's Mike Craven. That's why I'm up here just nitpicking at his list while he's away. Very unfair of me to do.
Yeah, he's got an umbrella in his drink. I don't feel too bad.
All right. Since Tepper is mainly focused on TFT about high school football, that's his area of expertise. He is a huge college football fan, but he doesn't get to talk about it as much.
Don't. No.
So
Pickle reins me in. She's like, no college football talk. That's Republic of Footballs.
Yeah, so in this That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana crossover episode that we got, Greg Tepper wants to talk a little bit about his big hot takes for the Texas college football season coming up. So Tepper, lay it on us.
Okay. I got a couple of hot takes that I don't get an opportunity to talk about college football with experts like you guys very often. And so I wanted to issue a couple of hot takes and I want you to try them on for size. If you like them, keep them. If not, send them on back, okay? My first hot take, and I issued this on Texas Football Today a couple weeks ago, but I'll say it again. My first hot take is that I think Texas Tech is going to be the surprise of the Big 12. I think they are going to be the dark horse in the Big 12. I almost went so far as to say that I think they're going to play in the Big 12 title game, but I don't think that's the case. But I think that when the Big 12 media poll comes out, they're going to end up being like 8th or like big in that big middle, and I think they're going to be an upper tier Big 12 team for a couple of reasons. But first of all, I want you guys to just try that on for size.
No, I like that.
I like it too. I thought last year everyone thought Texas Tech was going to be the dark horse Big 12 contender, and it always felt just a year too early based off them beating Texas and Oklahoma. So I like it for this year.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other reason why I like it, okay, and why I'm into that. For Texas Tech, I want you to go to their schedule.
I have it pulled up right here. I was just about to say that.
Let's play the schedule game. Everybody loves the schedule game.
Schedule game.
Go ahead. Okay.
It's very favorable.
Very favorable.
Very, very favorable, right? So their non-conferences are ACU at home to begin the season.
Should be a win. They'll be favored.
They go to Washington State.
I think
Who
they're
knows
gonna,
what Washington State's going to look
I think they're
like?
going to go to Pullman and beat them. I
think
really
so
do.
too.
I think that now they have not been. The last time we saw them go to the Great Northwest, they lost to Wyoming on the road. So, like, certainly
I also think this is a better team than last year. I
also think they're better than they were last year, and I think Washington State's going to take a step back. So
but if they do win that game, they will need to have bucked two trends, which is one, early season Texas Tech under Joey McGuire. They do not start well in the first 2 years, and on the road, Joey McGuire.
On the road, Joey McGuire is a real question for sure.
Yeah.
Now read game 3 out.
We can skip game 3.
No, what's game 3? September 14th.
Wow, you've got that memorized. North Texas will travel to play Texas Tech.
The nation's
that's an early game though, so that's
the
good
nation's
for the
worst rush defense against Taj Brooks.
I think there's a chance that Taj Brooks trebuchets North Texas into the sun. It could be very bad.
That could get.
What's next, Mal?
They have Arizona State at home, which
interesting, but
that's
at
an
home.
Interesting game,
interesting,
and
but
it's
I think at home
Yes.
should be a win.
They have Cincinnati at home.
Cincinnati's
that should be
bad.
a dub.
That's a win.
They go on the road to play Arizona. That could be a tough one.
Real interesting. Arizona's a real
tough.
wild card, I think, in the Big 12. They're in that same vein. That's like a matchup of my two Big 12 darlings. So that's a real turn game to me.
But they're also favored in every game before this.
For
so
sure.
what are they, 5-0?
Yeah.
Right.
So
At
what's
this point?
next?
Right. They get Baylor at home.
Should be a win.
Should be a win. They go to play TCU. Now, I think
That's a
TCU is
winnable
such
game.
It's a winnable game. I think TCU is kind of a wild card. I think it's a very even matchup
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
So that could be a coin flip there. They play at Iowa State. Now, that one always gives them trouble.
At Ames is tough, but
It's tough.
are we certain that Iowa State's going to be good? How sure are we that Iowa State's going to be good?
It doesn't even matter how good Iowa State is going to be because one game in Ames, anything can happen.
For sure,
Correct.
absolutely. But
Then they host Colorado, which who knows what Colorado is going to be. But
I think they're going to win,
think
and
they're
I
gonna
think
win
they're
that.
going to win pretty handily.
I think so too. They play at Oklahoma State.
this is where it turns.
That
Okay,
is.
to me, if like we've gone through all these games, you have to get to the 11th game of the season, the 11th game where you are sure, you are absolutely positive that they are significant underdogs.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. So I think you look at the schedule for Tech, and I think it lays out beautifully for them. They don't play Utah.
Or Kansas State. They don't play
don't
two
play
of
K-State.
probably the top dogs in the Big 12 right now.
Exactly right. They don't play either of the two best teams in the Big 12, in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean, there is a reasonable scenario, and part of it is just that the Big 12 is so unpredictable. There is a situation where, like, I sent a DM to Craven at one point when I was reading his stuff, and I go, dude, is Tech going to be 10-0 going into Stillwater? They're not. I want to be clear. They're not going to be 10-0. But, like, would it surprise you if they're 8-2?
Look, there's going to be 2 losses, but find me those 2 losses. I don't know which ones they are.
Which
Right.
ones are you sure? Yeah. There's too many coin flips for them to run the table on those, but I think they're going to be better, and I think that they've got an opportunity to be the real dark horse of the Big 12.
I like your theory, but it all does hinge on the health of Baron Morton
Correct.
right now because I don't think they have a backup capable yet of carrying them on the season. And I'm going to say something. Baron Morton posting the Twitter video of him throwing a pass in the indoor when all of this speculation is out about his health of his shoulder and him going to Florida to get it worked on. I was not like, wow, I'm convinced Baron Morton's back.
That's fine. Also, Will Hammond hive. I'm Will Hammond stan, okay?
I like Will Hammond.
Go Hippos.
Go
Just
Hippos.
saying. Just saying.
Oh, represent.
Okay, so what do we grade that hot take, Mallory?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it an A-.
I like A. I'll give you an A.
All right, that was a good
Not
one.
an A plus, not an A minus, but an A. I
Okay.
agree with you on pretty much
Okay.
everything.
My second hot take for the college football experts.
Did
here.
you like my lower third?
Thank you.
I said,
I
here
love
we
it.
go.
Thank you. I have to look at the program. Second hot take. We will have 3 new FBS head coaches in 2025. So
Okay.
the 13 coaches right now, 3 of them at least 3 of those teams will have different coaches in 2025.
I can think of 2 right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah. Flaming hot, scorching hot seat is Dave Aranda.
Correct.
Make or break year is Mike Bloomgren at Rice.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Who's the third?
Can I tell you?
Let's
Yeah.
try and get. I want to try and guess.
Yeah,
it
let me
first.
guess.
Okay.
It's not going to be Eric Morris. It's
Okay.
too early for that, I think.
I would agree.
Is it going to be somebody? Okay, I think I might know. And this might be for a different reason.
I know who it is.
Do you think it's going to be G.J. Kinney?
No.
Rhett Lashley?
No.
Wait. No, it might be.
Now-
Okay,
no,
'cause
so
I
here's
was
the
thinking,
thing.
I was thinking it was
Hold
going to be
on.
a different because they're getting poached for a better job.
So you're on the right track.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on. You're going off poach for a better job, or are you just going off isn't going to be there because of performance?
I'm saying they're going to have a
He
new
just
head
said
coach in
new
2025.
head coach. So that's why I was like, oh,
Texas
is it?
State, I would put them up
That's
there
what I
too.
said. Yeah.
I think you. So here's the thing. I think you guys are spot on. Okay. I think Dave Aranda, the Flamin' Hot Cheetos
Yes.
seat of the
Yeah.
week, right? It's very
Very
hot.
blatantly obvious.
For Mike Bloomgren, I think that, and we're all big fans of Bloom, I think that this is a huge year for them, especially, and this is an underrated thing, new athletic director. Okay,
Yes.
new athletic director.
People
It's a
forget.
massive win. They got to win. I think they got to win 7 games. I think they got to win 6 games minimum in order to get.
I
there.
would go. They have to win 7. He's
He's
one
gotta-
better every year.
He's got to improve. Absolutely. That to me is silly because I think we can get into a whole Rice conversation. The other one, I think you've got a variety of options. Okay, I think Rhett Lashley could get poached. I think G.J. Kinney could get poached.
Jeff Traylor?
I think Jeff Traylor may leave for Baylor.
Oh, I did think about that.
I think Jeff
I did
Traylor
think
may
about
leave for
that.
Baylor.
That is
And I
an
think
interesting domino.
Yeah,
There are
it
a
is.
variety of different opportunities here that to find that third. Right now, if you were to say, I'm going to lock in Dave Aranda, I think I like Dave Aranda a lot, but the wins have not been there, and they do not look like a contending team, which is probably going to be his downfall. I think for Bloomgren, it's 50-50 at best right now because of the expectations there with the new athletic director. And then I think you've got 3 or 4 different options to find that third one that I feel good that one of those is going to hit.
Look, if Texas State goes on to win the Sun Belt, like some in our offense are predicting, I don't think G.J. Kinney's there next year.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Yeah,
And I think, and by the way, if Baylor opens up, G.J. Kinney's phone's going to ring.
Jeff Traylor.
Jeff Traylor's phone's going to ring, right? I mean, Rhett Lashley, it is an ACC job. He probably wouldn't
That's
leave
a more
for ACC to
lateral
Big
job,
12,
I
right?
would say, more
but
lateral move.
Because he was floating around the Arkansas a little bit
Right.
before that happened.
But
that didn't happen.
there are going to be phones that are ringing there, and to me, that leads to I end up landing on the 3 number. Could be as many as 4 or 5. Like
Right.
if things go crazy, we could have that. I mean,
So this is more of like an over-under type of
yeah, I'm saying that I think right now I would set the over under 2.5, and I'm thinking it's over.
I feel like it's much more volatility going into this year than it was last year.
I agree. Okay.
like
So how do we
this.
grade that hot take?
I'm going A. On
I'm
that
going
one.
A plus
Solid
on that
A.
one.
Guys,
Yeah.
the takes are flying. You guys should have me on your show more often.
Yeah, no, wait till this next one, though.
I'm turning your mic off at this point.
Don't
My
silence
third
him
hot
for
take,
his last
and
hot take.
I'm about to win some friends and influence people. Okay. I think the state of Texas is getting shut out of the 12-team playoff.
Yeah, this is where
2024.
the report card
Wow.
gets a big black mark for me.
I am because here's the thing. I want you to run through 12 teams, right? And let's be real, okay? Let's be real about what the college football playoff is intended to do. They did not expand the to 12 teams so that Appalachian State could get into the playoff.
No.
They did not expand it so that Louisiana Monroe could have a spot in the playoff.
They want the best teams.
They did it so that they could add more SEC and Big Ten teams.
The best teams, the biggest brands.
Absolutely.
Correct.
That's what they're going for here. So let's be real about this, okay? We can speak honestly. We are all adults, unless there are children watching, in which case I apologize for this. What I'm saying is there are 2 teams in Texas that I think that you would say people are banking on to get in there. The first is Texas, okay? A lot of hype around Texas. Obviously, a run to the college football playoff last year, a lot coming back, including their quarterback. They feel good. Texas recently has not been a great front runner. They are also entering, let's be real, a tougher league. They won their conference last
100%.
year, but they are now going to have to deal with Alabama.
Yep.
They play Georgia, right?
Yep.
They're going to have to deal with
They
Georgia.
actually don't play Alabama, but
Yeah.
they'll be hovering.
Yeah. They have to play
play-
Georgia. They play Notre Dame.
And here's the thing,
no, not
too.
Notre Dame. Who do they open with? Michigan. They play
Michigan.
Michigan.
That was about to say that. Is like these non-conference games mean so much more now.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
They play Michigan. That's tough.
It is not. To me, I think people have just penciled in Texas to one of those things, and the brand will help them certainly. They are one of the teams in Texas that the brand is going to help them. That if they're an edge case, they're going to get in. They got to get to that edge case first, and there are some questions I have for Texas. I don't think they're a sure thing. Texas A&M's on that list, right? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, a take to go off of that a little bit is that I think you could say the same thing about SMU. If they were still in the AAC, I think we can all agree that they would run the table. I think they would win the AAC again, and then I think they would be put into the college football
And they would
playoff.
get one of those, I think they would get the at-large, or not the at-large, but like they would be one of the 5 highest-ranked conference champions.
Correct.
And they would get in.
The
Correct.
highest ranked group of 5 team is the sole team in the college football playoff. That'll be the only mid-major G5 team that
Yeah,
gets
they're
in.
not
And I think SMU was that last year.
I
I
think
really
they-
did. Regardless of Liberty, all of that noise, I really think that they were the best G5 team
I think
this
they
year.
would have been.
I don't know about this year.
But moving into the ACC is going to be a more difficult lift.
Correct.
They're going to have to, like, we don't know how they're going to do that. So SMU is in that mix. The only other team in the big brand conferences, and I'm not saying this as a negative, I'm saying this as a reality, is Texas A&M in the SEC, right? The Big 12 right now, in my opinion, it's a group of 2, and then there's like 2 or 3 conferences in this kind of big middle, and then the rest of the conferences.
Right.
Texas A&M has a ton of questions. Moving. A new coach. They've got a ton to replace on the defensive side. I think the defensive leadership is really we have big questions about that. I think what Edgerrin Cooper did for them last year was really important, and they have to replace that. Not only the production, but the leadership there. They have an entirely new wide receiver core. They're losing their center, which I think is really important. They have big questions, and I think that they're going to be a real sexy pick to make the college football playoff, and I could see them having a good year, but still going like 8-4 and getting and people being like, hey, Elko, I think there'd still be a lot of optimism in College Station, but I think that it may take a little bit of time.
I agree.
So that's the 2 brand names. So then you are banking on a team to basically win the Big 12, right? I think
It's going to be 1 or 2, maybe 2.
I think Utah and Kansas State are the 2 best teams in the conference.
Yep.
That a fair statement?
Yeah.
If those 2 teams are in the Big 12 title game, then there's probably not going to be TCU, it's probably not going to be Houston, it's probably not going to be Tech, right? Not going to be Baylor. So then who are you going for? You're going for SMU, right? To win the ACC. Not sure that's going to happen. I just think that when you take a look and you go score by school, like school by school, there's a lot of pressure on Texas and maybe an outside shot for SMU or Texas A&M to do that. And to me, picking Texas to play to their paper in recent years has just not been a safe bet.
When I think of Texas, I don't think, they play to their expectations.
Yes,
They don't.
that's all I'm saying. I want 12 Texas teams in the playoff, to be clear. This is not me rooting. This is me saying I'm looking at the landscape.
The Dave Campbell's tournament.
Yeah, exactly. I want the Dave Campbell's tournament. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I think that we are really underestimating, I think we're really overestimating the chances that Texas gets a team in. I think there's a good chance that they're left out of the first round.
I don't disagree, but the one area I'd push back on is if you're going to say Texas Tech is the Big 12's biggest surprise, I think that conference is so wide open that the biggest surprise won't be going from a 7 to a 4 seed or a 3 seed. So if Texas Tech was the biggest surprise, they would be in the Big 12 championship with a chance to win.
That's fair.
Then they might be your team.
That's fair. It could be like a team we're not thinking of. You know what I mean? It could be one of those teams that they're really good time. I mean, heck, there is I don't want to go crazy. But SMU.
Let me roll it back.
But
Way to cut yourself.
I thought that through. But SMU, I think, is that team that there's so much we don't know about their new conference landscape that I have a hard time really jumping on and being like, yeah, they're going to win the ACC.
I also think theoretically
Clemson and Florida State live there.
I also think that those teams aren't nearly as good as they were last year too. I mean, that might be.
That's
a
fair,
hot
but
take,
I also think that
Wait, which teams? The ACC teams?
Clemson and Florida State.
Yeah, but I also think that the AAC, the jump from the AAC to the ACC is maybe steeper than we give it credit for.
I think you're
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
The AAC had 9 of the 14 teams with a losing record, basically. It was not a good league last year,
Right.
which makes me think going into this year, the Sun Belt has the opportunity to cement itself as maybe the top G5 conference. And if the Bobcats down in San Marcos win the Sun Belt like some are projecting.
You heard it here first. 13,
Texas State.
13-0 UTEP in the playoff.
Well,
The Blue Blaze offense, baby.
Sam Houston.
Wait, no, that's this. This is UTSA. This
Picks up. Picks up is backwards.
That's right.
Picks up, baby.
That's the one.
All right, I'm going to give that take a B-.
Fine. Mallory.
Yeah, we'll go B-.
All right. Okay, guys. Thanks for letting me hot take with you guys.
Oh.
I don't get to do this.
That was fun.
Pickle doesn't let me have fun on the show.
Yeah.
So this is much more fun.
I got a lower third made for you now. So if you
Thanks.
ever want to come on here and give your hot takes, then you can.
Well,
Yeah.
you know how
Invited.
to beat me up to get me on the show.
Did your feet come off the ground when she pinned you up against the wall?
She's much taller than you think.
I'm much taller than I lead on.
Exactly
I
right.
promise.
Well, Tepper, you know you're always welcome back to come on and wheel and deal and,
Thanks, dude.
and get away from Pickle trying to hold you down
Yeah.
and clamp you down on
Oh,
TNT.
Yeah, exactly
Y'all are
right.
ridiculous.
Well, for Greg Tepper, Mallory Hartley, I am Carter Yates signing off on the Republic of Football podcast. Thank you so much for joining, and podcast over.
Go Rutgers.